In a crisp chill of an Alaskan summer, where towering mountains pierce the clouds and the horizon seems to touch both American and Russian skies, preparations are unfolding for a summit unlike any in recent memory. This Friday, US President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin are expected to meet face-to-face in a moment that could redefine borders, rewrite alliance, and decide the fate of the war in Ukraine. The meeting's location remains a closely guarded secret. Officials hint at possibilities, perhaps a secretive lodge tucked deep into a forest outside the anchorage or fortified military compound near Fairbanks. Helicopters have been seen making test flights over remote areas. Security teams have been quietly moving in and out of potential sites. As of Monday, no official announcement has been made, and that secrecy has only heightened global anticipation. At the heart of this high-stakes meeting lies a war that has dragged on for over a decade in various forms. Its roots stretch back to 2014 when Russia annexed Crimea, shocking the world and igniting a conflict in eastern Ukraine's Donbas region. That war smoldered for years until February 2022 when Putin launched what he called a special military operation, a full-scale invasion that sent shockwaves through Europe and beyond. In the early days, Russian forces swept into Ukraine from multiple directions, reaching the outskirts of Kiev. Towns like Bucha and Irpin became synonymous with devastation and alleged war crimes. Mariupol, once a thriving port city, was battered by relentless shelling. Millions fled their homes, those who stayed endured bombardment, blackouts, and shortage of food and medicine. Ukraine's resistance, bolstered by billions of dollars in Western military aid, changed the tide in late 2022. Ukraine force recaptured Kherson City, though Russia still occupies parts of the wider region and holds control of the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant, a constant source of global concern. In 2023 and 2024, battles raged in places like Bakhmut, with neither side able to secure a decisive victory. The war has settled a deadly stalemate of drone strikes, artillery builds, and trench warfare reminiscent of World War I. NATO has been crucial to Ukraine's survival. Since the 2022 invasion, the alliance has provided weapons, ammunition, training, and intelligence. Sanctions have been imposed on Russia, targeting banks, oligarchs, and energy export. Yet, NATO has stopped short of direct military involvement, worry of escalating into a wider war in nuclear-armed Russia. Now, with Alaska as the stage, NATO leaders are on edge. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has made it clear, and I quote, "Peace cannot be decided over the heads of Europeans and Ukrainians," end quote. Britain, France, Italy, Poland, and Finland have issued a joint statement insisting that Ukraine must be part of any peace deal. European diplomats fear Trump might strike a deal with Putin involving territorial concessions such as recognizing Russia's control of Donbas in exchange for a ceasefire without Kyiv will consent. For Trump, this summit is both a political gamble and a personal mission. 7 months into his second term, he wants to fulfill his campaign promise to end the war quickly through direct negotiation. His belief in personal diplomacy has been a constant theme, from his meetings with Kim Jong-un to his previous summit with Putin. The Trump-Putin relations has long fascinated the world. In 2013, Trump openly praised Putin's leadership style. In 2018, the two met in Helsinki, where Trump was criticized for appearing to side with Putin over U.S. intelligence agencies on election interference. They crossed the paths at G20 meeting, trading compliments, even as tension lingered over Syria, arms control, and sanctions. But those past encounters pale in comparison to what's at stake now. Alaska is not just a convenient halfway point between Moscow and Washington. Its history adds a symbolic layer to the meeting. Once part of Russian Empire, it was sold to the United States in 1867 for $7.2 million. Today, it remains a place where Russian culture lingered in names, tradition, and historical memory. Holding the summit here sends a message. This is neutral ground, but also American soil. Governor Mike Dunleavy has called Alaska, and I quote, "the most fitting place," end of quote, for such talks, citing its shared Arctic interests and strategic location. Still, not everyone is pleased. Local activists plan demonstrations, and some Alaskans who once viewed Russia warmly have turned sharply against it since the invasion of Ukraine. In Kyiv, President Volodymyr Zelensky is ready to travel at moment's notice. His message is consistent, and I quote, "Nothing about Ukraine without Ukraine." End of quote. Ukraine's ambassador to the US, Oksana Markarova, says Zelensky will go wherever he needs to if it can advance peace, but as for now, no invitation has been confirmed. Meanwhile, in the trenches of Donbas, Ukrainian drone units continue to scout Russian positions. Civilians endure nightly missile alerts. The war brings on, indifferent to diplomatic calendars. The possibility for Alaska are as broad as they are uncertain. One scenario is a temporary ceasefire freezing the front lines where they stand with negotiations to flow. Another is a territorial deal, perhaps giving Russia official control over Donbas in exchange for withdrawing from part of southern Ukraine. But history gives reason for caution. Previous agreements like the Minsk according to 2014 and 2018 failed almost immediately. Putin has often used the ceasefire to regroup and rearm, and Ukraine has made it clear it will not formally cede territory, arguing that doing so would reward aggression and invite future invasion. A narrative one that a poorly structured deal could fracture NATO unity, embolden Russia, and undermine international law. On the other hand, a successful agreement, even a partial one, could save thousands of lives and stabilize global market shaken by years of war. In Brussels, Washington, Kiev, and Moscow, policymakers are counting down the days. Social media is alive with speculation, some predicting a breakthrough, others warning trap. Markets are jittery, energy prices shift on every rumor. And in Alaska itself, as tourists snap photos of glaciers and fishermen cast line in icy river, the undercurrent of tension is unmistakable. Helicopters run overhead, security details inspect the hotels, somewhere behind closed doors. Aides are finalizing the details of meeting that will change the course of history. This Friday, The Last Frontier will host the latest chapter in one of the 21st century defining conflict. Whether it become a turning point toward peace or just another moment of diplomatic theater will be known soon enough. For now, the worldwide breath held eyes on Alaska.